Hey.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Brianna.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so as you know, you're here for counseling. Did you already see the informed consent?
I didn't.
Okay, well, let's just go through that together. So basically, this is just a contract telling you what we're going to be doing here, my qualifications, which are none because I am a student. I'm a student counselor. I'm training. I'm not perfect, so we're going to go through some bumps in the road probably. Everything that we're going to be talking about is going to be up to you, so you can choose and direct the conversations. Everything you talk about is going to be confidential, except if there's going to be some like talking about like harm, self-harm, neglect of others or of yourself, things of that nature. And everything that you're going to be talking about is going to be video recorded and watched by my supervisor. So is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Awesome. So if I could just get you to sign. Cool. Thanks. Okay, so let's start off. How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome. So let me just introduce myself.
Okay.
I'm Stephanie Baker. As I said, I'm a student. I'm queer. I am I'm Native American. I'm Asian American also. I'm here on scholarship. Just introduce yourself like that to me as well.
I'm Brianna. I'm going into my senior year here at USC. I'm heterosexual. I'm Black and half Guyanese. My mom she's West Indian. And yeah, it's senior year. It's a lot, but that's currently, I'm getting ready to graduate.
Awesome. So have you ever been to counseling before?
I haven't.
Okay. So how are you feeling about this being your first glimpse into counseling?
So I was nervous at first, but I'm glad that you're a student because I think that kind of eases the nerves.
We're both learning together.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that definitely makes me more comfortable.
So what brings you in here today?
So I just turned 22 a couple of weeks ago, and I kind of had, thank you, I had that moment where I was like, I'm 22 and I don't have half the stuff that I wanted to be done by the time I'm 22. I had like that meltdown, I think combined with getting ready to graduate as well, and not knowing exactly where I'm going, I'm kind of like,
So this is like a new realization for you. Okay. Do you think you had these like fears like a couple months ago before your birthday? Like, were you ever thinking like, oh, do I know what I'm gonna do, or is this all just like fresh?
It's kind of fresh. Like honestly, I don't react to things until I get closer to it happening. Like I was kind of pushing off like, oh, I have a whole another year before I'm gonna graduate. But I think turning 22 definitely like flipped the switch in my head. I think, and I've always had a pretty secure plan of what I wanted to do. Like I'm planning on going to grad school this upcoming year, but then I had the realization that I think I need to take a gap year because I don't think I'm going to finish my applications in time for December. So I think just trying to navigate and figure out, and I'm still living at home with my parents, even though I'm 22. And that's convenient, and it like helps me save money a lot and that kind of stuff. But I'm just trying to take bigger steps into being more independent.
Well, first I want to say, even though you're 22, and you may think it's like not a good situation to be living with your parents, you provided yourself with a logical, rational explanation. So I think you're really just feeling your anxieties about all of this. So do you think that you are going to be, why do you think you're going to be like not applying to grad school? Like,
mostly because of the GRE. Because I definitely feel like I could have the application done in time. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do the higher ed and student affairs program. Not all schools require the GRE, but then some of them do. So I think that's the biggest hurdle because I feel like all my friends are studying GRE all the time. Like even my sister, she's getting ready to apply to get her master's in business, and she's like very GRE, and I just don't have that same drive, I guess, as my peers. And then like I was looking at the math section, I looked at one of their study books, and I was like, I don't know what this is. Like, so I think I got initially like seeing that it was going to be difficult, I'm reserved of wanting to take it.
Would you say that there's some social pressure to like finish your graduate applications in December, or do you think it's just the pressure of like yourself?
I think it started as pressure for myself, but then the social pressure a lot, because I'm seeing like all my friends are taking the test, and I don't know, like if I don't go to school next year, I don't know what I'll be doing, because both of my jobs I have now are through the university, so once I'm not a student anymore, I won't have those jobs, and I don't want to like go be a waitress, or something like that, or let's like do something to fill the time. But so I'm kind of like going into panic mode because I don't have a backup plan for if I don't go to school.
What is the worst outcome, you think, if you're graduating and you don't go into graduate school?
I think, so if I don't go to grad school and I don't have a job lined up, I think my parents will put a lot of pressure on me and like ask me what I'm doing, what my purpose is, like if I have drive. I think a lot of pressure from my parents, for sure. And like if I can't find a job, I'll take a waitress job. Like I'll do what I have to do to get by. And then also student loans kick in 6 months afterwards if I don't continue going to school. So that's another thing.
Yeah, that all sounds really stressful. I know when I was going through that, I was going through the same things, same stresses. The pressure, it feels really heavy, doesn't it? Yeah. But I have another question. So what was your plan before you started doubting yourself?
I think kind of going back to when I first started college, I feel like I've always had the same plan, because once I learned about the higher ed student affairs degree, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And actually this past summer I've worked with the orientation office on campus for like the past 3 summers. And this past summer was the first moment that I was like, is this what I want to do for the rest of my future? Because I don't know specifically what I want to do. I know that I want to be like in the education field. And I think I'm just, once I started to doubt that part of the plan, it was like everything else kind of fizzled out. And then I always thought like, oh, I would meet the person I'm going to marry and then I'm going to be with them, but like I'm not with anyone, which is like, that's totally fine. It's whatever. But, because I think my ultimate goal in life is that I want to be a mom. That's like the number one thing that I want to do. And so I think I'm like, I have to get a job. And I'm like, I'm not going to find a husband. I'm like, stuff that I shouldn't even be worrying about now, I'm worrying about, I think.
Do you think a lot of these pressures are coming from the traditional form, or like heteronormative families, or, you know, the nuclear family even? It's mom and dad, and then kids. Mom works sometimes, but mostly does the mom life. Is that like what you want?
I think so. I always had, my mom was a stay-at-home mom my whole life. And so I've always seen like the mother figure. I've always had a very like mom that's involved in my life a lot. And I just know that I want to be able to do that for somebody in the future. And I've just always gravitated towards children. I love children. And I don't necessarily want to just like sit down and being a mom is the only thing that I do, because my mom doesn't do that either. But I think I eventually want to get to that point, and I do want to have a big family.
So this is like one of your like biggest goals, is like being a happy mom, you know, being productive in society, but like getting the fulfillment of leading another life. That's a good goal. I know it's a lot of pressure when you're like not there yet, and you're like, oh, like how am I gonna get there? But you know, anxiety, I think the root of your problem is anxiety. So how do you cope with that? How do you cope with like the stresses and the pressure?
So I definitely, my favorite thing to do in the world is to watch TV. I could watch TV all day if I could. So usually when I feel super, super anxious, I'll watch my favorite show, Jersey Shore. I'll watch it a lot, and that just like it's weird. It's just like eases my mind. So I'm doing what I love to do. I don't necessarily like eat a lot. I used to stress eat a lot, but I don't do that as much anymore. Sometimes, usually I'll like have a bottle of wine if I'm feeling stressed, but I usually just like to watch TV to kind of, but then I'll realize I'm watching TV for 6 hours, and then like I wasted a whole day. So
would you say that your coping strategy is more negative or more positive?
I wouldn't say that it's negative necessarily, but I do think that it could be like allows me to completely ignore what's
Yeah.
going on, which isn't always necessarily probably the best thing.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm paying attention to the people's lives in the show, or like any show I'm watching. It's like it's scripted, but I'm still so invested in that I'm just completely ignoring my issues. Pretty much.
So, do you do anything else besides like watching TV that's more like rooted just to you and like treating yourself and like caring for like your own problems, like compartmentalizing and scheduling out like what you should be doing?
So when it comes to having anxiety, usually I don't like to be around anybody, which is why I think I watch TV. I'll just stay in my room, stay in bed all day. That's something I do a lot. I remember for one of the leadership positions I had, we had to do a personality analysis, and then in my top 3, one of my categories was like avoidance was one of the main things that I do, which yes, like I can definitely see that. And I avoid things and I acknowledge that I'm avoiding it, but then I don't try to resolve it. I'm just like in the cycle of doing that. And I think me coming here will help because I usually I don't talk to my friends necessarily about it. I'll just like have conversations in my head with myself, which is not really productive because I just don't know necessarily how to like talk to people about stuff. So
it's very cyclical to get in that process or like that pattern of just like, oh, I reflect, I can self-reflect, but then now what?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, anxiety is gonna keep you from going out and seeking the help that you deserve. So congratulations on, being courageous and making that step forward and coming to counseling. I know it's really hard to do. We're actually running out of time, so I just want to go over a few things. Is there anything else that you want to address in your future sessions?
I think just talking more throughout like how to positively deal with stress, as well as like I think my main goal would be to get over the social pressures of having to follow a set plan.
Yeah. Okay. We can totally continue working on that in our next session. As of now, it was really nice getting to know you. Thank you for speaking so honestly with me. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.